Welcome to the origins of philosophy, a gentle journey through the dawn of human thought, where wonder sparks reflection and curiosity guides the mind, from Western civilization's perspective. In this series, we will wander the ancient streets of Greece, gaze at the stars above Miletus and Athens, and follow the first thinkers who sought to understand life, the universe, and the self. From Thales, who looked to water as the essence of existence, to Heraclitus and Parmenides, who explored change and permanence, to Plato and Aristotle, who sought order and meaning in forms and nature. We will meet Socrates, who taught that the unexamined life is not worth living, Epicurus, who discovered peace in simple pleasures, and the Stoics, who showed the strength of the mind in adversity. Each episode is crafted as a calm narration, inviting your mind to relax, reflect, and drift into thought without urgency. Here, philosophy becomes more than ideas. It becomes a companion for the soul, a quiet guide to understanding life and the human experience. As you listen, allow the stories of ancient wisdom to wash over you, to inspire contemplation, and to provide gentle insight into the enduring questions of existence. Prepare to explore the origins of human thought, to witness the first sparks of reason, and to journey through the timeless pursuit of wisdom. This is the origins of philosophy, a serene voyage through the minds of those who first dared to ask why, and how, and who we are. Episode 1: The Dawn of Wonder. The story of philosophy begins not with certainty, but with wonder. Long before the word of philosophy was spoken, human beings looked up at the night sky and felt the same quiet awe that we feel today. Stars burned like distant fires, seas whispered against the shore, and questions began to form in the silence of the mind. Who are we? Why are we here? What is this vast, mysterious order that surrounds us? In ancient Greece, more than 2.5 millennia ago, these questions took form. On the Ionian coast, in the city of Miletus, thinkers began to turn from myth to reason. The old stories of gods and giants still echoed, but a new kind of explanation was rising, one rooted in observation, reflection, and curiosity. It was the birth of philosophy, the love of wisdom. Among the first was Thales of Miletus, who lived around 624 BCE. He looked upon the world and sought not divine whim, but principle. He believed that all things were made of one underlying substance, water, the source of life, transformation, and continuity. Though simple, his thought carried a quiet revolution, the idea that nature could be understood through reason. Thales was followed by Anaximander, his student, who looked even deeper. He imagined an unseen source behind all things, the Empyrean, the boundless, infinite and eternal, from which all forms arise and to which they return. It was the first glimpse of abstraction, of the notion that reality extends beyond what the senses perceive. And then came Anaximenes, who found in air the living breath of the cosmos. For him, existence was not static but dynamic, shifting through condensation and rarefaction, thickening into stone or thinning into fire. Each thinker built upon the last, slowly shaping a new way to see the world, through cause, change, and unity. This was no longer myth, it was reason awakened. The world itself became a book to be read, a mystery to be approached with patience and thought. And in this quiet turning of the mind, humanity took its first step toward understanding not only nature, but itself. Yet soon, a new question emerged, one that would change everything. If the world is made of change, what remains constant beneath it all? From this question would rise thinkers like Heraclitus and Parmenides, whose visions of change and permanence would shape philosophy forever. But for now, as the Aegean waves lapped against the shore and torches burned in the night, something new had begun. A way of thinking that sought truth not through myth, but through the patient fire of reason. And as the stars shimmered over the sleeping world, the spark of wonder continued to glow. The age of philosophy had dawned, quiet and eternal, born from curiosity itself. Episode 2: The Fire and the One. As the early thinkers of Ionia gazed upon the changing world, one question began to haunt them. If everything moves, transforms, and passes away, what remains? What lies beneath the endless dance of creation and decay? From this question arose two opposite visions, one of eternal change, and one of unyielding stillness. At their hearts stood Heraclitus and Parmenides, two men whose thoughts would forever shape how humanity understands existence itself. Heraclitus of Ephesus, born around 535 BCE, saw the universe not as static, but as a living flame. Everything flows, he said, and you cannot step into the same river twice. For him, fire was the symbol of transformation, the ever-living element that both creates and consumes. Life was movement, tension, and renewal. Conflict, he believed, was not a flaw of nature, but its engine. A war is the father of all things. Heraclitus taught that change is not chaos, but harmony unseen, like the hidden rhythm within music, or the pulse within the body. What appears as contradiction is, in truth, balance in motion. Yet across the sea, Parmenides of Elia stood in calm opposition. Where Heraclitus saw fire and flux, Parmenides saw stillness and unity. He claimed that change is an illusion, that only being truly exists, eternal, unchanging, indivisible. If something changes, he reasoned, it must become what it was not, and what is not cannot be. Therefore, the world of movement is deception, reality is one, and motion is but shadow. To Parmenides, truth could not be found by the senses, which mislead, but only through reason. And so he wrote in verse, describing a chariot journey to the goddess of wisdom, who revealed that mortal opinions are but dreams, while true knowledge rests in the understanding of the One. These two visions, fire and stillness, becoming and being, would echo through philosophy for centuries. Heraclitus gave us the world of experience, Parmenides the world of logic. Between them stretched the great tension that defines human thought, how to reconcile change with permanence, motion with meaning. In their struggle, a new generation would rise, seeking to bridge the two worlds, to find what lies beneath appearance and reason alike. From their efforts would come new schools of thought, new questions, and new ways to understand the cosmos. And so, from the flames of Heraclitus and the stillness of Parmenides, a harmony would soon emerge. A vision where number, pattern, and order became the keys to reality. In this next chapter, we meet the thinkers who saw the universe as music, who found divinity in proportion and mystery in mathematics. Episode 3: The Birth of Reason. After Heraclitus' fire and Parmenides' stillness, Greece sought balance, a bridge between change and permanence, motion and logic. It was found in number, in pattern, and in harmony. And at the heart of this vision stood Pythagoras, born around 570 BCE, a man who saw in the vibration of a string the secret of the cosmos. In the southern city of Croton, Pythagoras founded a school not of warriors or politicians, but of seekers, men and women devoted to knowledge, discipline, and the study of the soul. To them, the universe was not chaos, but a symphony. Every star, every breath, every motion of the heavens followed a divine order, a hidden music that the mind could hear if it learned to listen. Pythagoras believed that numbers were the language of reality. The world, he taught, is built upon proportion, the harmony of opposites expressed in rhythm and form. Just as the lyre's string must be tuned to produce beauty, the soul must find balance between thought and desire, reason and emotion. He and his followers lived simply, valuing silence, contemplation, and the pursuit of purity. They believed in the transmigration of souls, that life is a cycle, a long journey toward understanding. To live wisely was to align oneself with the cosmic order, to think clearly, act justly, and live in harmony with all things. Their discoveries were both mystical and mathematical. The famous Pythagorean theorem became a symbol of the unity between form and truth, a simple equation that reflected the perfection of the universe itself. For them, geometry was sacred, a bridge between matter and mind. And yet, within this world of quiet harmony, a new question began to stir. If numbers govern reality, what gives them their meaning? If the cosmos is ordered, what is the principle that makes it so? This question would lead to the birth of a new kind of philosophy, one that sought to explain not only what is, but why it is. From this question rose a new generation, the natural philosophers of the classical world. They would study air, fire, and atoms, seeking the laws behind existence. They would imagine the universe as infinite and eternal, built of invisible particles and motion unseen. Reason was awakening in full, and with it, the courage to question all that had been taken for granted. As the voice of myth faded, the voice of inquiry grew stronger. Greece entered an age of reflection, where philosophy began to shape not only thought, but the way of life itself. And among these thinkers, one question began to shine above all others. A question about the mind, the soul, and the art of living. Episode 4: The Age of Teachers. In the classical cities of Greece, philosophy began to take a new form, a form that was not only about understanding the cosmos, but about teaching others how to live. The sophists emerged, traveling teachers who offered wisdom for a price, guiding young minds in rhetoric, ethics, and the art of persuasion. They taught that human life is shaped by experience, convention, and the power of reason, rather than by the dictates of the gods alone. Figures like Protagoras famously said, "A man is the measure of all things," suggesting that truth is relative, shaped by perception and circumstance. This was revolutionary, a turning point in thought, emphasizing human agency, moral responsibility, and the capacity for choice. Yet for many, this approach seemed unsettling. It challenged tradition and questioned the foundations of justice and knowledge. Alongside the sophists, a deeper pursuit of truth continued. Teachers like Anaxagoras and Empedocles looked at nature not as myth, but as a system governed by principles, reason, and observable patterns. Anaxagoras introduced the notion of nous, mind or intellect, as the organizing force of the cosmos. Empedocles described the universe as composed of four roots: earth, air, fire, water, moving under the forces of love and strife. They sought not only to explain the world, but to understand the causes behind change, the principles behind life, the rhythm behind reality. And while their eyes turned to the heavens, and their minds explored unseen forces, another kind of teacher arose in Athens. One who would ask questions not for money, not for persuasion, but for truth itself. A teacher who walked among the people, listening, observing, provoking thought. This teacher was Socrates, born around 470 BCE, a man who believed that philosophy must begin with the self, with understanding one's own ignorance. He wandered the streets of Athens, questioning, debating, urging citizens to examine their lives, to seek virtue and justice. Socrates taught that wisdom is not a treasure to be possessed, but a practice, a method of inquiry that never ends. His approach was simple, yet radical: to ask questions, to reveal assumptions, to illuminate truth through dialogue. He challenged the powerful and the learned alike, showing that knowledge is earned through reflection, not inherited by status or wealth. And so, philosophy became alive, moving from the study of nature to the study of life itself. From the schools of the sophists to the public spaces of Athens, thinking became action, reflection became responsibility. Yet Socrates' relentless questioning would soon draw danger, suspicion, and a trial that would change the course of philosophy forever. Episode 5: The Voice of Socrates. Socrates walked the streets of Athens with no writings of his own, only questions, only dialogue, only the living rhythm of thought. He asked not for wealth, not for fame, but for understanding, for the examination of life itself. An unexamined life is not worth living, he said, and every conversation became a mirror for the soul. He challenged citizens to reflect on virtue, justice, courage, and the nature of the good. He revealed contradictions, exposed assumptions, and quietly unraveled beliefs held for generations. His method was simple: a question, a pause, another question, a patient pursuit of clarity. And yet, this simple method unsettled the powerful, the comfortable, those who feared that reflection might reveal their own ignorance. Socrates' life was a lesson in courage, a demonstration that philosophy is not abstract, but lived. He drank deeply from the well of dialogue, and inspired students like Plato, who would carry his teachings far beyond Athens. Yet his courage drew suspicion, whispers of corruption, accusations that he led the youth astray. In 399 BCE, Socrates was brought to trial, charged with impiety and corrupting the minds of the young. He could have fled, he could have compromised, but he chose integrity, he chose truth, he chose philosophy itself. His defense was not a plea for mercy, but a statement of principle, that wisdom is the greatest pursuit, and virtue is the highest lore. Socrates was condemned to death, but he accepted his fate with calm, a quiet demonstration of the stoic courage that would come centuries later. He drank the hemlock, and his final moments became a testament to the power of reason, the necessity of examining life, the endurance of the mind beyond fear. His legacy would ripple through history, inspiring Plato, Aristotle, and countless thinkers who would ponder ethics, government, and the art of living. Philosophy was no longer only the study of the cosmos, it was the study of the self, the search for virtue, the pursuit of wisdom in action. And as Socrates' voice faded in Athens, a new chapter began, one where ideas would be written, structured, and explored through forms. Where reason and abstraction would reach for the eternal, for the perfect, for the unchanging. Episode 6: Ere the Shadows and the Light. After Socrates, his student Plato sought to capture the fleeting truths of life, to preserve wisdom in writing, and to explore the eternal beyond the visible world. Plato was born around 427 BCE in Athens, a city alive with ideas, conflict, and the restless pursuit of knowledge. He imagined a world behind the senses, a realm of perfect forms, unchanging, eternal, the true reality beyond appearances. In his dialogues, he explored justice, courage, love, and knowledge itself, using Socratic questioning as a foundation. But Plato extended the inquiry, proposing that the world we see is only a shadow of the true reality. A tree, a stone, a person, all imperfect copies of a perfect form existing in an abstract realm. To understand the world, he argued, is to understand these forms, to see beyond the shadows and grasp the eternal essence. Plato founded the Academy, the first institution of higher learning in the Western world, where students studied mathematics, astronomy, ethics, and philosophy. He believed that education was the path to enlightenment, that the soul could ascend from the darkness of illusion to the light of truth. His famous allegory of the cave illustrated this journey. Prisoners in a cave see shadows on the wall, unaware that reality exists beyond their narrow vision. The philosopher, he wrote, must turn toward the light, must perceive the forms, and then return to guide others. Through Plato's writings, philosophy gained structure, clarity, and depth, exploring the relationship between mind and world, appearance and reality. His vision influenced not only metaphysics, but ethics, politics, and the understanding of knowledge itself. And yet, Plato's ideas would inspire both devotion and debate, for the tension between forms and experience remained unresolved. From Plato's thought, another mind arose, Aristotle, a student who would bring philosophy back to earth, grounding it in observation, classification, and reasoned study of the natural world. Aristotle accepted Plato's wisdom, yet questioned the necessity of abstract forms, emphasizing instead what could be seen, measured, and understood. The transition from Plato to Aristotle marked a profound shift, from the realm of ideals to the realm of the tangible. From contemplation of perfection to careful study of life itself. And yet, as Aristotle's pen traced the patterns of existence, the mind continued to wonder, seeking unity, meaning, and the principles underlying all that moves. Episode 7. The realm of forms. Aristotle's approach to philosophy was grounded in observation, in the careful study of what exists, yet he never abandoned the wonder that had begun with the earliest thinkers. Born in 384 BCE in Stagirre, he studied at Plato's academy, absorbing lessons of forms and ideals, but he sought a more practical understanding, one rooted in the natural world. He classified animals, plants, and even human behavior, searching for patterns, causes, and principles. He introduced the concept of substance and essence, the what and why of things, and explored motion, change, and causality. For Aristotle, to know something fully is to know its purpose, its telos, the reason it exists, and the role it plays in the order of life. Aristotle's philosophy extended to ethics, where he taught that the good life is achieved through virtue, the balance between extremes, courage without recklessness, generosity without waste. Happiness, he argued, is the result of living according to reason, cultivating the mind, and fulfilling one's potential. In politics, he examined communities, constitutions, and justice, seeking to understand how humans might live together in harmony. Though Aristotle focused on the tangible, he acknowledged the abstract, the principles, the universal patterns that guide existence. In this way, he bridged Plato's ideal forms and the empirical world, laying the foundation for science, ethics, and rational thought. His writings became the cornerstone of Western thought, influencing scholars for centuries, in both the Islamic world and medieval Europe. Yet philosophy was not only about reason and observation, it also sought comfort and guidance for life itself. From the careful study of nature, thinkers turned inward, seeking happiness, peace, and the art of living. From this pursuit arose new schools, like Epicureanism and later Stoicism, teaching that wisdom is not only knowledge, but serenity, discipline, and harmony with the world. As Aristotle's eyes traced the patterns of the cosmos, the human heart continued to seek calm, to understand pleasure, desire, and the avoidance of pain. Philosophy was growing, encompassing reason, ethics, observation, and the quiet search for contentment. And in this evolution, a gentle truth emerged, that understanding life requires both study and reflection, reason and the care of the soul. Episode 8. The Empirical Eye. As philosophy turned from the cosmos to the care of the soul, Epicurus emerged, born in Samos in 341 BCE, a thinker who sought to guide humanity toward calm and happiness. He taught that pleasure is the highest good, yet not indulgence in excess, but the absence of pain and disturbance, serenity of mind and body. Epicurus believed that the natural world is made of atoms, moving through empty space, and that understanding this allows humans to free themselves from fear, fear of gods, fear of death, fear of the unknown. In his garden in Athens, he gathered students to live simply, to reflect, to enjoy friendship, and to practice moderation. Philosophy, for Epicurus, was practical, a guide to living well, achieving peace, and finding joy in the small, daily moments. He encouraged observation and reason, not superstition, and taught that the mind is capable of tranquility when it comprehends the natural order. Death is nothing to us, he said, for when we exist, death is not, and when death comes, we no longer exist. By understanding the limits of desire, the nature of the world, and the fleeting quality of life, humans can achieve ataraxia, a state of calm and freedom from disturbance. Epicurus' teachings were revolutionary. They offered not abstract speculation, but guidance for living, practical wisdom grounded in observation, reflection, and friendship. His ideas spread quietly, influencing generations who sought happiness not in power or wealth, but in peace of mind, the careful tending of the soul. As Epicurus taught serenity, another school arose with a different focus, Stoicism, emphasizing strength of mind and virtue in the face of adversity. The Stoics believed that life is unpredictable, that suffering is inevitable, yet the soul can remain unshaken if it is disciplined, guided by reason, and aligned with nature. Epicurus and the Stoics, though different in approach, shared a common goal: to teach humans how to live well, to navigate life with wisdom and calm. Philosophy was no longer only about the universe or abstract forms. It was a living guide, a companion to the soul. And through these teachings, humanity learned that understanding the world and understanding the self are inseparable. Episode 9. Ere the Quiet of Pleasure. Epicurus' teachings spread slowly through the ancient world, offering a gentle vision of life. The pursuit of pleasure, he reminded, is not indulgence in excess, but the careful cultivation of peace, freedom from fear, and the moderation of desire. He encouraged quiet reflection, friendship, and the enjoyment of simple joys, the laughter of companions, the beauty of nature, the calm of a mind untroubled. His garden in Athens became a sanctuary, a place where thought and life intertwined, where students learned to observe the world, understand the mind, and temper the heart. Through Epicurus, philosophy became not only a discipline of reason, but a guide to living well, a means to cultivate happiness within the ordinary rhythms of life. While Epicurus sought tranquility, the Stoics taught endurance. Zeno of Citium, born around 334 BCE, walked the streets of Athens teaching that virtue is sufficient for happiness, that the wise person remains steady in joy and sorrow alike. The Stoics believed that life unfolds according to nature, and that by understanding its course, humans may live in harmony with the universe. Pain, misfortune, and change are inevitable, yet the mind, disciplined by reason, can remain unshaken, serene in all circumstances. These schools, Epicureanism and Stoicism, offered contrasting yet complementary paths, one toward gentle pleasure, the other toward steadfast virtue. Both sought the mastery of the self, the cultivation of inner peace, and the art of living in accordance with wisdom. Philosophy had become intimate, a companion to the soul, not only a study of the heavens or abstract truths, but a way to navigate life itself. Humans learned to balance desire and restraint, hope and acceptance, observation and reflection. They learned that knowledge of the world is inseparable from knowledge of oneself, and that a life guided by reason and care of the soul is a life of dignity. And yet, even as these teachings offered guidance, the world continued to change. Empires rose and fell, cultures expanded. Philosophy, resilient and adaptive, moved onward, ready to meet new questions, new challenges, new ways to understand the human condition. Episode 10. The Strength Within. Philosophy has always been a journey, from wonder to reason, from myth to reflection, from the stars above to the soul within. The teachings of Thales, Heraclitus, Parmenides, Plato, Aristotle, Epicurus, and the Stoics remind us that human thought is both persistent and evolving. Each generation built upon the last, refining questions, shaping answers, seeking understanding, and seeking wisdom. In every age, philosophy has been more than abstract thought. It has been a guide, a light in uncertainty, a companion in life's quiet moments. It has taught patience, reflection, courage, and the value of the examined life. Even when civilizations rise and fall, the pursuit of knowledge endures, carried in writing, dialogue, and memory, whispering across time, reminding humanity of its capacity for reason and reflection. The legacy of these thinkers endures in every human endeavor: science, ethics, politics, art, and daily life. To observe the world, to question, to reflect, to act wisely, is to participate in a tradition that began thousands of years ago. The calm contemplation of Epicurus, the disciplined strength of the Stoics, the patient questioning of Socrates, the search for form and order in Plato and Aristotle, all converge in the quiet strength of the human mind. Philosophy is not only the study of the universe, it is the cultivation of the self, the mastery of thought and emotion, the pursuit of virtue, knowledge, and serenity. It invites us to listen deeply, to observe fully, to act with purpose, and to live with dignity. And in this pursuit, the individual discovers not only the world, but the depths and possibilities of their own mind and heart. As we conclude this journey through the origins of philosophy, we see that it is more than history, it is a living practice. The questions of the ancients continue to guide us, about life, death, meaning, and the pursuit of knowledge. Even now, as we face new challenges and discoveries, philosophy reminds us to pause, to reflect, to cultivate calm and insight. The strength within each of us, the power to reason, to question, to live thoughtfully, is the inheritance of these thinkers, a quiet flame lit thousands of years ago. And as the mind rests in reflection, the heart can find serenity, for philosophy is not only knowledge, it is life itself, a journey without end, a companion in the stillness of the soul. Thank you for joining this journey through the origins of philosophy. If you enjoyed this calm exploration of thought and wisdom, please like, subscribe, and stay with us for more reflections on the mind, life, and the timeless pursuit of understanding. Prepare to explore the origins of human thought, to witness the first sparks of reason, and to journey through the timeless pursuit of wisdom. This is the origins of philosophy, a serene voyage through the minds of those who first dared to ask why, and how, and who we are.